Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it. The only explanation I could have for that one is if someone's using some very, very high tensile strength string in order to pull that door back and forth, but it looks like it's latching completely whenever it slams closed. So how they would get it to unlatch in order to jerk it back open, I have no idea. That one's a bit of a mystery.
We're off. So we got these three guys here. They're pouring concrete in their backyard. They decided it was a good idea to jump in there barefooted. Homeboy's got a bolt float. Look at that, no joints. Came out really nice. They got a patio, but their feet are gonna fall off.
Oh god. I want to shed some light on concrete burns because they're 100% a real thing. But before I do, definitely drop West Coast to follow because his videos are tremendous. Now this is what you see when you go on Google and you search for concrete burns. They don't even want to show them to you. That's how bad these are. So when he says, yeah, they got their patio done, but their feet are gonna fall off, their feet are probably gone. I bet you those guys really regretted doing that patio themselves. I'm gonna show you a picture that's not that bad because I don't want this video taken down. This right here is probably one of the more common ones. This guy had boots on. Some concrete got in his boots. He continued to work, and these are concrete burns. But what he didn't do is take his shoes and socks off and walk around the concrete willy-nilly. Those guys we just saw, they're completely screwed, like done.
So concrete cures by wicking the moisture out of whatever it's in contact with, be that the atmosphere, the ground, whatever. It's going to pull that moisture out of there. So if it's on your skin, it's going to pull the moisture out of your skin and dry your skin out so bad that you end up with concrete burns. Please wear gloves and especially boots if you're doing concrete stuff.
Morbid Facts, Part 206. Just last year, Wendy Williams was diagnosed with aphasia and frontal-temporal dementia as her devastating condition has been going viral online. While her son says it's the result of long-term alcohol abuse, others point to the time Wendy did something very peculiar on her show in 2014. Wendy said she would eat crow if Kanye and Kim's marriage lasted longer than 72 days, which it did. While that's normally just a saying, Wendy actually had a chef prepare some crow for her to eat.
My mouth is watering over this.
In many religions such as Hinduism, crows are said to be the messengers of our ancestors, and that they can cross the divide between the physical and spiritual worlds. For this reason, eating a crow is believed to be a bad omen that results in the consumer being cursed. Many say eating the crow was the turning point of Wendy's career and the start of her ailing health problems.
I would think it would have more to do with karma because she's such a horribly disgusting individual. I doubt that there's anything to do with her eating a crow that's led to her having this condition. I'm sure that it's just a naturally occurring medical condition that happened over time. But if you're going to make a list of reasons why Wendy Williams, based on her actions, would deserve or end up karmically receiving this type of condition, I think at the top of that list would just be her personality in general. She's just a disgusting person. And I'll just say I hate to hear this happening to anyone, even if it's an individual I don't particularly care for. It doesn't look like it's going to be a fun ride for the rest of her life.
This is a very interesting article. Middle East authorities are cracking down on audio that gets you high. This is banned in the Middle East. Now, let me talk about this a little. Already have super harsh you-know-what laws, and I'm pretty sure that is everywhere. But look at this, though. They're tackling spooky-sounding MP3, hoping to combat the growing use of digital you-know-what or binary beat. Now, it's interesting because when I work with certain individuals with frequencies, the more people that are there in the room, the higher the expectation. Now, I've been doing a lot of different things with a few DJs that I work with, people that are in kind of the entertainment industry. This is really crazy stuff because it actually does enhance a lot of you-know-what symptoms with it, because it's incredible that it gets into the body and everybody around you just starts vibrating on the same frequency. It's actually quite phenomenal.
I want to know what this beat is, or this MP3, this sound that can create a drug-like effect. This is the first that I've heard of this, but it would absolutely make sense to me that if we've got certain frequencies that we can listen to that will help us to meditate, help us to reach higher planes of existence through astral projection, and I know there's certain frequencies that are supposed to help you better to have lucid dreams. So it would make sense that there's frequencies out there that have effects like this as well.
I would teach people that we are eternal energy beings that live forever, and we are incarnating in different lifetimes that have a certain time stamp based on our mortality that allows us to only experience this reality for a certain amount of time and then bring back that growth that we learn in different lessons into different lifetimes to grow slowly. Karma is about the things you've done or not done in a previous lifetime, right? So if you kill someone in a lifetime, you have to make up for that karma in another lifetime. Well, the same thing's true if you do something really good. If you change the lives of thousands of people, right, for a positive reason. And I think that's how karma tends to work, is this energetic signature of what we left behind that then allows us to grow from that standpoint. From, like, for instance, if you lived an angelic life, I think that next lifetime will change based on what you experienced in a previous lifetime.
I really like this theory, and this goes along with a lot of Dolores Cannon's teachings, which I'm studying heavy right now for a podcast. This lines up perfectly with what she teaches, that you're reincarnated back multiple times, and that you are trying to go through karmic lessons in order to learn how to grow as a spirit, as a soul. That the lessons you learn on this plane, you take back with you to the spirit plane. Very fascinating stuff. Can't wait to dig into the podcast and get into it much, much deeper. But yeah, I really like that theory. Hey, if you're enjoying this video and you like this kind of content, I make a new one just like it every single day. It would be awesome if you'd hit that subscribe button and come back tomorrow to join me.
Canada is proposing a new bill to make Christianity illegal, as well as punishing Christians with jail time for their faith. A Canadian member of Parliament by the name of Yves Francois Blanchet has proposed a bill called Bill C-367, which aims to remove protections from speaking about religion from Section 319.3.1b of the Canadian Criminal Code. Citing this enactment amends the Criminal Code to eliminate as a defense against willful promotion of hatred or anti-Semitism the fact that a person in good faith expressed or attempted to establish by an argument an opinion on a religious subject or an opinion based on a belief in a religious text. This would make quoting the Bible illegal under the guise of hate speech, and would make it a criminal offense to speak up about certain sinful lifestyles that the progressive left finds offensive. Over the past couple years, many Canadian Christians like Bill Watcott, Pastor Derek Reiner, and Pastor David Lynn have been convicted of hate crimes, with even some having to go to trial for their biblical beliefs. If Bill C-367 passes, this will unleash a full-on war against Bible-believing Christians at the hands of the Canadian leftist government that have already been testing the waters to see how much Christian persecution they can get away with.
This is really sad. I'm not even religious, but I'm dang sure not going to stand there and let someone else tell me what my beliefs are. The fact that Canada is trying to do this to their citizens is proof that they don't care about their citizens. You believe what we tell you to believe, or else. That's what they're telling them.
The predicted Third World War. Guess who predicted all of these? Mr. Albert Pike. Yeah, the 33rd Freemason. Chillingly accurate 200-year-old letter predicts World War III and final battle against Islam. Also, in 1797, Jewish oracle Elijah ben Shlomo Zalman warns Jews to start preparing for the end of days when Russia captured Crimea. That happened when Russian leader Vladimir Putin annexed the region from the Ukraine. Zalman foretold Russia would then go to war with Turkey before the Russians would team up with Muslims for a final battle. On November 21st, 2023, Trump declared that 2024 is our final battle.
2024 is our final battle.
There it is, February 11th. 2024 is our final battle. He just reposted that on Truth. Here we go again.
2024 is our final battle.
Final battle.
2024 is our final battle.
Right? It's built in. That phrase is cooked into his speech. So he is saying this over and over and over again. 2024 is our final battle. Final battle. All right? So very Masonic, going back to Albert Pike, predicting the Third World War between Islam and Israel. Final battle. Trump's talking that this is our final battle. So sure does seem that it's going down this road.
I'm not a big fan of predictions. Even when a prediction does come true, it's usually worded in a way that it's almost like, well, obviously this was going to happen. But I guess we'll find out if all this stuff comes true. I guess we'll find out if we're actually going to have World War III. I mean, again, there you can go. Anybody could have saw that coming.
Atomic bombs, people think Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Those were tiny. A thermonuclear bomb is a two-stage weapon. It is an atomic bomb inside a nuclear bomb. The atomic bomb is the fuse. It's so incredibly powerful. It's like if you set off 1,000 Hiroshimas at the same time in the same place. 1,000. The idea at the time was, how do we make these massive nuclear bombs smaller so we can fit them in the top of a ballistic missile to strike an enemy across the world? The scenario that I tell in nuclear war, bomb that strikes Washington, D.C. is a 1 megaton thermonuclear weapon. The Atomic Energy Commission wanted to know the effects that these bombs would have on people so they could plan nuclear war. This is something like 4.5 miles of fireball, just of pure fire. Pure fire.
Hurricane of fire.
Everything in that fireball is incinerated. Nothing survives. Nothing. No insects, no cellular life, nothing.
4.5 miles. That's insane. Yeah, you hear about these things and it doesn't even make sense. It doesn't sound like that's even within the realm of possibility for them to make an explosion that large. It sounds like it would actually push the Earth out of orbit. Like, that's a massive explosion.
So there's a shocking paper that was just found that a United States Air Force captain wrote in 2015 about the upcoming solar pole flip, right? So we talk a lot about the Earth's pole flip, right? I've done several videos on that. That is something that happens and it will happen again. But what a lot of people don't realize is the sun goes through these 11-year cycles, right? The solar minimum to the solar maximum. At the end of the 11-year cycle, the sun itself actually flips. It flips on its axis, right? 180 degrees. It's wild. When it does this, it gets into, right before it flips, it gets into what's called solar maximum, and it's very charged. It's everything is amplified, right? It's a lot more powerful and intense, a lot more intense storms, and the CMEs that it puts off are way stronger. And in this paper that this Air Force captain wrote, he says that we should prepare for these super strong CMEs to hit Earth. And why this is significant is because he also says, this is the Air Force's words, that our magnetic field that protects us, our force field, our bubble, is 40% weaker. Over the last 400 years, it has weakened by 40%. That's almost half, okay? This is just their estimates. It might even be worse. So our force field has shrunk and is way weaker than it ever was before. We're coming up on a solar maximum. We're coming up on a polar flip on the sun that they're expecting to be one of the worst in recorded history, right? One of the most powerful, I would say. And they're expecting CMEs to be firing off way more rapidly and for one of them to potentially hit Earth, okay? So our force field is weaker, stronger storms are gonna hit us, and the craziest part is we are more connected now than ever before to the internet of everything. I mean, think about everything that runs our life, you know, our whole grid, our water supply system, our supply chains, you know, our banking, everything is run off of electricity and run off of the, you know, ability to connect to the internet and communicate that way. So if a CME was to hit Earth, right now it would do more damage than ever in the history of mankind, okay? Like to us as a civilization, right? So what else do we see right now? We see lots of very rich people and powerful people and authorities building bunkers, getting underground, stocking up on everything, right? This is not a doom and gloom thing, but with this paper coming out that a United States Air Force captain wrote, an official paper basically warning, saying there is a solar pole flip coming that is going to, our Earth is going to be super vulnerable and it could do like very significant damage. It makes you think, is this why all of these people are building bunkers? Is this why all these people are kind of scrambling and doing these sort of peculiar things? Because they had this, he wrote this paper 9 years ago, but we're just getting wind of this right now. We're getting into the solar maximum right now. It basically peaks at the end of this year, going into early next year, but leading up to it, like we're already in the solar maximum ramp up right now. So is this what is driving all of this kind of bizarre behavior from these people? I don't know, but it's definitely interesting, definitely something to pay attention to, and I think you should also take their lead, stock up, and be as prepared as possible, because the sun is powerful and we are vulnerable. So anyways, let me know, what do you guys think about all this? Have a beautiful day. Peace.
Tell you what it makes me think. How come just because you have money, you're privy to all this extra information that's going to help you prepare for things? If this is the reason that Zuckerberg and Bezos and all these guys are building these bunkers, how did they find out about it before the rest of us did? Because you know they're not digging for stuff like this. They would have been told.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but what is going on at Chernobyl? So to start with, I'm pretty sure you're all very aware of Chernobyl, the place, and obviously what happened there. Now if you don't know, get to know. But essentially, big nuclear disaster happened, like no one can go there for hundreds of years still, probably even thousands of years. It's nuts. There is still an area which is like the clogged up nuclear material called the elephant's foot, secured away at the bottom of the basement. Literally, camera crews went in there years ago and took photos, and it literally corrupted the whole tapes, and some of the people tragically passed away. So yeah, you cannot go to this place. It is so radioactive still. Now of course people can't go there, people don't live there, but some creatures still do. Now this is really, really interesting. So worms, which are, you know, living at the Chernobyl area, have apparently developed a superpower. No, they can't fly or shoot lasers from their eyes, but this is actually something that could be very, very useful for research, says scientists. So these worms at Chernobyl are now immune, completely immune to radiation. Now scientists are investigating these tiny, tiny worms which reproduce at a rapid rate, which now have genes in them which are immune to radiation. So the researchers gathered a large group of worms from the ground, from fruit, from various different locations across the area, and the levels of radiation in these different worms varied. Dr. Sophia Tinton said, "Did the sudden environmental shift select for species or even individuals within species that are naturally more resistant to ionizing radiation?" Now, since the 1986 disaster, animals have continued to live in the area. Research before had shown that a lot of these animals had very different things about them since the disaster, like strange genetic mutations. I'm sure you've seen the things about the weird fish. Now, of course, this is sparking a lot of curiosity on social media, with people coming out saying, oh my god, so if we just go and live there, you know, our kids will be immune to radiation. Is that the case? Probably not. But yeah, obviously these scientists are still looking into it. There's a lot of heavy research going on, so make sure you hit that follow button and I'll keep you updated.
Well, that's something I never expected to hear. There's an actual living being that has developed the ability to not be affected by large quantities of radiation. That's definitely something that would be beneficial for us to have as humans, especially with the way the top dogs are always fighting and threatening each other. I wouldn't trust our scientists with some of the stuff they're dabbling in right now, some of the ideas that they're toying with. I don't think that I would trust them to try to develop this into something that humans could eventually benefit from.
Freaking hell. Oh my god. It's like an alien. If you could see this with your own eyes, it's actually terrifying.
This terrifying video comes from DAP Pest Control. I'll tag him below. And while he is a professional, even he was intimidated by the size of this nest. This is because the family left the home vacant for close to 12 months, giving the wasp plenty of time to build this nest. Now it's unclear whether the family left a window open or the wasps nested within the walls. Regardless, here's the rest of the clip, and let me know, what would you do in this situation?
My heart's going 100 miles an hour, and I can probably feel it too. You get stung by one of these guys, sensing the pheromone, then the other wasps will know where you are. They just keep tracking you down and keep stinging you. They'll sting you in the eyes, they'll sting you in the nose, they'll get you wherever you are, and then they'll make sure that you can't see. The eyes will puff up, the ears will puff up, you become unbalanced. Okay. Jeez. One got out. It's full of whiteness. Woo! Oh shit, they're pissed. Alright, they're getting out. Alright, I'm getting out of here. They're attacking! They're attacking! Oh!
Man, there's some jobs you just gotta walk away from. Sorry, but it's going to cost me so much to do this for you. It'd be better for you to call 2 or 3 other guys and have them all come in here and do it together. Do a tag team.
Elite Scotland in the 20s built this amazing place called Coral Castle. This is still a mystery to a lot of people, or they don't know about it. And he single-handedly put these giant blocks on top of each other, carved them, sculpted them, shaped them, on his own, offload them single-handedly. And nobody knew how he did it. He always made the guy stand around the corner or something like that, until one day 2 young schoolboys saw him offloading these giant coral blocks. And they came home very excited saying, "Hey, mummy, we saw the guy." And they asked, "How did he do it?" And the kid said, "Well, he did it with ice cream cones in his hands, 2 ice cream cones." And the parents imagined, naughty children, what are you talking about? You're trying to force us into buying your ice cream for dinner, right? Well, that's not true. When I heard that, I got extremely excited, because that is consistent with what I've been finding in Southern Africa. Cone-shaped tools. And that's why I call it the ice cream cone phenomenon. And this has become a very important part of trying to unravel the ancient mystery, how they did this stuff. They used sound, they levitated stuff, but how did they do it? And I find many of these cone-shaped tools scattered all over Southern Africa. Then you get to the Rosicrucian Museum in the United States, and guess what I find? These cone-shaped tools on display with Sumerian writing on it, Sumerian cuneiform writing on it, commemorating the building of the temples in Sumer. They were then stored in the walls and hidden in secret chambers in the walls that were retrieved from the secret chambers in the walls. Now they're on display in the United States. Cone-shaped tools commemorating the building of the temples in Sumer. They still continue to put in our history books, still today, that these are just cattle kraal for keeping cattle. These amazing stone structures that cover most of Southern Africa. They are really remarkable structures, and the walls are not very high. Sometimes they're flat with the ground. Some places they're 3 meters tall or 2.5 meters high. The most important thing that you need to notice is that each one is completely unique and different. Ohm-shaped structure. And what does ohm represent in modern electronics and electricity? It's linked to vibration, frequency, the movement of current, and so forth. Resistance. Look at all the stuff in between, covered by soil. You have no idea that there's much more of this stuff in between, connecting this one to that one. What is activity all about in Southern Africa? Always about gold. Don't you ever forget it. Always about gold. And remember, it's not the obsession of humans with gold, it's the God's obsession with gold. In Genesis 2, when Adam was alone on earth, Eve had not yet been fashioned from his rib. God comes to Adam and says, "Hey buddy, there's a place called Havilah. It's land full of milk and honey. The land is good, the water is good. And by the way, buddy, there's gold." What on earth is going on here? Why would God, the creator of the universe and all things in it, the commander of consciousness, want to tell Adam about gold? And it's in that one defining moment that you divide God with a big G from God with a small g. Huge, huge division. The twain shall never meet. And the Bible and ancient texts seem to be, especially the Bible, is constantly crossing those lines. What I find fascinating, scholars that have been studying the Bible for 30 years, their entire life, still keep crossing that line. God with a big G, God with a small g. The Elohim is a plural. The Elohim and the Anunnaki are the same beings, and I'll show you why. The ancient history of Southern Africa is all about gold. Sumerian tablets tell us in great detail about the Anunnaki. And the creation of Eve from Adam's rib is reduced to 2 lines in the Bible. In the Sumerian tablets, it's a whole chapter on it. How it happened, how they put Adam into a deep sleep, and blah, blah, blah. It's phenomenal information.
All right, I don't know how he started off talking about the Coral Castle and then ended up talking about how the Bible's not true. The reason I left this in here was to touch on the Coral Castle stuff, the cone-shaped things that the guy's talking about. This reminds me of when you hear Billy Carson talking about them using frequency and stuff to lift these heavy stones with a device, and it was something small that they could hold in their hand. Similarly, he has a staff that he could point at you that's going to do that sound frequency thing where it stops you dead in your tracks and you can't move, paralyzes you, which is, we have something similar today. Our military does, but it's a huge truck they have to drive around with this machine attached to the back of it. I think these cone things may represent a tool that was used. I don't know if they're the actual tool. I don't think they would have left that behind. Plus, how does a rock that's shaped like a cone pick up another rock that's 3 or 4 tons? It would make sense that these were some sort of a representation to show the tool that maybe the Anunnaki used that the humans didn't have access to, but they were in marvel of these tools, and so they made representations of them.
I'm sorry, NASA is doing what? Nah, flip on. Oh my days. NASA, what the hell are you doing? What is this all about? So, NASA is wanting to put millions of pounds of ice into the atmosphere, just firing it into the atmosphere. Why are they doing this? Well, apparently to tackle climate change. Now, this strategy involves seeding the atmosphere with ice to stop greenhouse gases from building up. So this technique which NASA proposed, scientists suggested is a way to mitigate the effect of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. Now, how the hell does this actually work? So basically seeding the atmosphere with particles of ice that would freeze any vapor into ice that otherwise would have become a greenhouse gas and come back down to Earth. So this is a thing called geoengineering. Name doesn't sound great. And this practice is extremely controversial due to the side effects and things that could happen because of it. But get this, ready? They want to release 2 tons of ice particles every single week into the atmosphere. Nah, no thanks, mate. Now, according to researchers, one big risk of this is that it could cool the atmosphere by 1/70th of what it is today, meaning over time it could completely ruin the whole cycle we're in. Nights could get way colder, winters way colder, literally could be like a deep freeze. But they are saying the dangers of global warming are far greater than the risks that this could cause, so we might as well try it. But yeah, obviously there's still that little risk that it could just completely freeze over the planet and screw everything, but you know, who cares? I don't know. Hit that follow button, I'll keep you updated.
This is so frustrating. The people that are in charge are some of the dumbest individuals that walk this earth. Has nobody seen Snowpiercer? What if they mess up? There's no fixing it. It's over with for everybody, not just them. I'm going to go ahead and leave it there on a good note. That's just mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing the sheer level of stupidity of messing with our own atmosphere like this. But who am I to say anything that anyone's going to listen to make them stop and think twice? I'm going to go ahead and end the video there. I hope you guys like these clips that we watched together today. I'll be back tomorrow with another one like I always am. I hope you come back to join me. I hope you have a great, safe, fantastic rest of your Saturday, and I will see you tomorrow.